Hello, friends from Five Reasons. We're back here with Ethan Spalding. My name is Alejandro Villegas. Thanks for being with us again. Today we have two topics. First, we're going to be talking about a Dolphin that didn't make the Hall of Fame, and then we're going to be talking about the Miami Heat. But first, what happened? What's going on? We're watching the NFL Honors Show, and we have the inductees already. And what happened? Why is not Zach Thomas in between the chosen ones to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, he should be. And I've never really understood this. I covered Zach's career from the beginning, from 1996, when Jimmy Johnson signed Jack Del Rio, drafted Zach Thomas in the 5th round. Zach beat him out in camp and never looked back. And all those teams I covered, and I have great respect for Jason Taylor. I was a big supporter of Jason's and thought he was a deserving Hall of Famer. But I don't understand why it is that the NFL voters consider Jason Taylor to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Zach Thomas still can't get in, because the teams that I covered, Zach was the heartbeat of those teams. I think Jason had higher moments, again, had Defensive Player of the Year, had more touchdowns, that kind of stuff, because, as a defensive end, you're going to make more impact plays. But the heartbeat of that team, the most consistent player on a defense that was in the top 10 the entire time that he played, was Zach Thomas. And if you look at Zach Thomas's numbers and compare them to Brian Urlacher's, and Brian Urlacher, who had a short career, made it into the Hall of Fame already, Zach's numbers are better. And, the only linebacker during that period of time, the only inside linebacker that was clearly better than Zach was Ray Lewis. And, and then depends what you consider Junior Seau at, whether he was inside or outside. But I just don't get it. I don't know if it's the way it's being presented. I'm not sure. I mean, Kevin Mawai came out last year, the center for the Jets, who got in. And Mawai basically said that Zach was the toughest guy he went against. Peyton Manning has said the same thing. And here's the problem. For Zach, I think he's paying for the bad offenses that the Dolphins had all those years, because he never made it to an AFC Championship game. But next year, the class includes Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, and Calvin Johnson, Megatron. They're all getting in on first ballot. So, I mean, unless Zach was the next guy this year, and it appears that he might have been, maybe either him or Torrey Holt, I don't know that he gets in next year either. So this is nothing against the candidates who got in, okay? Edgerrin James, Miami guy, deserving. Isaac Bruce from this area, deserving. Steve Hutchinson from this area has been on the ballot for a long time, deserving. I don't know about Steve Atwater, to be honest with you. But and Troy Polamalu, yes, deserving. But Troy also had a short career, retired early. I don't get why it is that Zach has been pushed to the back here. I mean, look, I'm a little biased. I loved covering Zach Thomas. He's one of my favorite guys.
And you love the Dolphins too.
Well, it's not that I love the Dolphins. I hate the Dolphins in this case, because the Dolphins are the reason Zach's not in. Okay, if they had ever gotten an offense, if Ricky Williams doesn't flee to Australia, if they had a quarterback better than, and I'm a Jay Fiedler guy, but if they had a quarterback better than, they didn't have anybody better than Jay Fiedler during Zach's tenure. If they didn't screw up every single thing that they did, drafting Eddie Moore over Anquan Bolden, drafting Jamar Fletcher over Drew Brees. If they don't do all those things, Zach probably plays in a bunch of AFC Championship games and maybe some Super Bowls, like Urlacher played in the Super Bowl, and he's probably in the Hall of Fame. But because they didn't, he's not.
All right. Well, he's getting closer and closer every year. What do you think it's keeping him, or keeping the voters from giving them just giving the votes, man? What's keeping them from giving those votes to him?
What's keeping him from getting the votes? I mean, I think it's notoriety. He was not a guy who touted his own horn. And I think that's hurt him. I mean, he was, look, Jason was a little flashier than Zach. Jason did Dancing with the Stars. And again, this is nothing against Jason, but it should have been Jason.
So he has to start dancing? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he wasn't much of a dancer. I've seen Zach dance. But I just think he should be in already, Alejandro.
So it's unfair for all the Dolphins fans that got to watch him. But I mean, that's what it is. You have to wait until next year, and maybe a couple years more. What's the next, like, how many more years he has to be?
He's got a few years. I mean, he's going to make it eventually, Alejandro. I just think it should happen already. And now I don't think with the class next year it's going to happen next year.
So you don't think it's going to happen in 2021, but maybe in 2022?
Maybe down the road. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Well, anything else you want to say about Zach?
No, nothing else about Zach.
All right. See you guys later. We're going to be talking about the Miami Heat in a little bit. So stay here. We're going to come back, close this one, and come back to talk about the Miami Heat. All right. See you later.